The multiverse. It's life or death. Could use an Avenger.
There are other Avengers.
We'll get you back on the lunchbox. The fate of the multiverse depends on us. No pressure, then.
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Tickets on sale this Wednesday.
Welcome back, everyone. There's a brand new Marvel Doctor Strange 2 trailer video. We'll break down a bunch of new footage. They're trying to be as misleading as possible with it too, so I'll explain some of the Easter eggs and what they want you to think and what's actually probably going on. It wouldn't be a Marvel trailer if they weren't trying to pull a fast one on you, making you think that someone else was the villain when really something else entirely is going on. Most of you probably have an idea what I'm talking about, but if you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. There's a bunch of brand new footage in here, and obviously a lot of missing footage too, just in service of the way that they're presenting this trailer. Like, you have Doctor Strange coming to ask Scarlet Witch for her help in this big grove of trees like we've seen in a lot of the previous trailers, talking about this threat from the multiverse, why he needs her help. Please come help us. It'll go a long way to getting you back on the lunchbox. That's actually a sly wink at the events of WandaVision and what happened in Westview. In the previous trailer, she's like, okay, I expected you to come at some point. Like, she's expecting him to show up and arrest her because of what she did. Because in the MCU, they actually clarified that she is portrayed as kind of a villain based on what she did in the Hex. She did legit keep those people of Westview hostage for a whole week just to kind of live out her grief. Like, I'm not trying to hurt anyone, I'm just trying to deal with something. I'm just going to be borrowing this entire town to just play out this fantasy for a little while. The way that Elizabeth Olsen explained it, at the end of WandaVision, the reason why she just kind of takes off like, you know what, they'll never know what you did, and then she just kind of takes off with the Darkhold. Elizabeth Olsen said that that's because she wanted to leave before the police, the FBI, Doctor Strange legit showed up to arrest her and take the Darkhold from her before she had a chance to study it. I did a bunch of videos for the deleted scenes for that final episode. They were going to have a couple Doctor Strange cameos during that series, especially the later episodes, but then the pandemic happened and they had problem bringing some of the actors back. So some of the actors did not appear in the finale as much, and they just decided to not include Doctor Strange and switch it to a couple other characters and save a lot of that Doctor Strange Scarlet Witch stuff for the events of Doctor Strange 2. So him showing up to where she's living right now here after the events of WandaVision as she's been studying the Darkhold for these some months or so is just them referencing what was going to be happening during that. When she says there are other Avengers out there, she's talking about the Avengers who survived Avengers Endgame. There had been at least one new major Avenger to join, that's Shang-Chi. She doesn't really know about the events of the Shang-Chi movie, but she does know that some of the Avengers survived the events of Avengers Endgame. But it does not include White Vision because he kind of screwed off at the end of WandaVision with the Hex Vision memories unlocked inside his body again, and he's still dealing with those. The life or death scenario that Doctor Strange is talking about, the reason why he wants Scarlet Witch's help, at least at the beginning of the movie here, is because of the nightmare that he references in the trailer that he keeps having every night that he goes to sleep. He's basically having a nightmare about something terrible happening, something terrible coming from the multiverse and ruining their universe, the MCU. He's also still shaken about the events of Spider-Man No Way Home with the 2 multiverse spells. Now remember, he also forgot Peter Parker, but he remembers that he weaved a couple multiverse spells. He still doesn't understand how the multiverse works exactly at the beginning of the movie. He knows a little bit about it, but he doesn't know everything. And even though during the first Doctor Strange movie, we did see him go on a magical tour of the multiverse through different dimensions, most of the MCU characters so far that we've seen, like the regular characters, cannot physically travel between universes without really special, really dangerous spells that most of them don't use. So it's not something that's really common right now. That's where America Chavez comes in. So before he learns what's really going on with MCU Scarlet Witch pulling a fast one on them, he thinks that something really bad is coming from the multiverse, which is where the Doctor Strange variants come in, America Chavez, Scarlet Witch's variant, in the Darkhold. The main reason why he wants the Darkhold, which he knows that she has, is because it allows him to weave chaos magic. Like, you see him using chaos magic here, weaving this quote-unquote forbidden multiverse spell. Previously, they made it seem like Scarlet Witch is the only person in the MCU who's been able to use chaos magic. It seems like what's going on with the Darkhold and the spell that he's weaving is that it helps them communicate with other realities, see into other realities, but it's actually America Chavez who has the power to actually punch through different universes. Like, this punching motion that she makes is her literally opening a portal, a star-shaped portal like the one on her back, into other universes. There's some misleading footage of an attack on Kamar-Taj with more Scarlet Witch footage, but this is some of the footage that Marvel is making look very misleading so that you can't tell who is fighting who. What's really happening here is that MCU Scarlet Witch is fighting against Doctor Strange, Wong, and all of Kamar-Taj using this special creation here with the red eyes and the runes on it that's actually being controlled by chaos magic. She's trying to attack Kamar-Taj in order to get America Chavez, like you see her floating here with this really evil look on her face and the blackened fingers, kind of like Agatha Harkness's black fingers. Everyone else here in Kamar-Taj is trying to protect America Chavez to prevent Scarlet Witch from forcing her to use her powers to open a portal to the multiverse, because the whole idea is that she's been looking for a version of Billy and Tommy. Clearly they're unsuccessful because you see her strung up with this creation here, like this creature that's been created by chaos magic or being controlled by it, forcing her to open a portal behind her. Remember, the creature has the exact same runes on it that Gargantos does later in the streets. They're calling this Gargantos in the movie, but really it's like a version of Shumagorath. It looks much more like Shumagorath. Marvel just has a copyright problem because the Shumagorath name belongs to the Conan IP. It comes from the Hyborian Age, and technically Marvel doesn't currently have the rights to the Conan comics. It having those same runes on it also makes it seem like it's being controlled by someone else, like MCU Scarlet Witch. You see the Baron Mordo variant, or it could be MCU Baron Mordo now with the really long hairdo attacking our MCU Doctor Strange with his sword weapon in the Illuminati base. He doesn't have his cloak of levitation on, like it's just him in his very comic book accurate looking costume. There's much shinier, clearer HD footage here of the Maria Rambeau Captain Marvel variant working for the Multiverse Illuminati team fighting the Scarlet Witch variant. If you pause on this picture here, you zoom in enhance and you look at the headpiece here, she has a really short hairdo. It looks kind of like an OG version of Captain Marvel's mask from the comics, but on Maria Rambeau with Lashana Lynch's really short hair. Remember, Lashana Lynch played a version of Maria Rambeau, Monica Rambeau's mother. The whole twist here is that in her universe, she just happened to be the test pilot on the day that Captain Marvel got her powers instead of Carol Danvers, so she became Captain Marvel that day instead of that universe's version of Carol. We might get a little more footage of her in the next trailer. There's still a couple MCU Illuminati team members that we haven't completely seen yet, but I've done videos about them in my previous trailer videos. Most of them are supposed to be variants. We'll see variants of Fox X-Men characters, which I think is probably the biggest thing everybody's freaking out about, but also probably some variants of the Fox Fantastic Four characters too. Then there's been a lot of questions about this new creature here inside the Darkhold Temple. Quick explainer, the temple that they're in here, where they're fighting, if you look in the background, has the exact same markings that are on the Darkhold, and it's inside this mountain range. I think the idea with the temple is that it's supposed to be an Easter egg for the Wundagore Mountains in the comics and the chaos magic backstory in the comics. Like Scarlet Witch's original backstory, not the MCU backstory. Like they're kind of trying to do some Easter eggs for comic book Scarlet Witch. The reason why Doctor Strange in the trailer is able to weave chaos magic using the Darkhold is that in the comics, they're trying to do an Easter egg for its creation. In the comics, it was actually created by Chthon, the god of chaos. He's the person who created chaos magic and gave that ability to Scarlet Witch when she was born. It was all part of a long play that he was trying to manipulate her and events around her to use her to help get back into the main MCU dimension. Because all these creatures, really powerful cosmic beings, really powerful gods, are always way more powerful when they're physically able to be inside the MCU, but most of them are trapped in alternate dimensions with a fraction of their power. Now this creature in the trailer is not supposed to be Chthon himself, it's just supposed to be another random demon being controlled by chaos magic. So notice the red eyes, that denotes the chaos magic being used to control it. It's also the creature that people saw in the poster and were like, what is this? Is this Chthon? Is this something else? It seems like what's really going on here is that the creature is probably just a servant of Scarlet Witch, so she either creates it or summons it using her chaos magic. The way they present it behind Wong here, he seems super surprised by it at first, like, wait, what? What is this? Then he turns around away from it, summoning his twin swords, pointing them at something else coming towards the entrance of the cave, and then the camera shifts to the right to Scarlet Witch flying next to him with her chaos magic at the ready, like both of them, or all three of them, including the monster behind them, are getting ready to attack someone else. Even though they are trying to be very misleading about what's going on here, like isn't Scarlet Witch supposed to be kind of the villain in the movie? It seems like, at least in this scene, they want to make it seem like the zombie version of Defender Strange is the bigger threat in the moment, because at the end of the last trailer, it makes such a big deal about everyone else freaking out at the sight of him. And it's taking place at the same mountain range region, like you see Zombie Strange at the entrance to this cave. I think it's also meant to be a slight Easter egg for the events of the What If series with Marvel Zombies, like a Marvel Zombies Easter egg. But if there are any other Easter eggs in the trailer that you spotted in the video, just write them below in the comments. There's supposed to be an even bigger trailer at some point next week, so of course I'll do a video for that as soon as they release it. Cannot wait to see some more of those Fox X-Men characters come back. Everyone click here for my full Marvel Moon Knight Episode 1 video and Easter eggs, and click here for my full Moon Knight Episode 2 trailer video. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.